So this is a pretty reasonable hand. We get to curve out with 2-drop, 3-drop into another spell. We have all our colors. We have a 4-drop removal spell that deals with whatever problematic creature they have. So this is actually a pretty strong hand. As it turns out, we're up against a red-black aggro deck. So this is kind of a super aggro red-black versus a slightly bigger mid-rangey red-black. As it turns out, a version similar to our opponent this round is actually went 8-0 in the tournament. RVNG, I believe it's a Brazilian player. And so a lot of people have been jumping on that deck lately. This version is a little suspect, maybe. Dund Operative. So they didn't have an artifact, but they had to kill our creature. So they disintegrated. There's the Hazoret after we used our Vraska's Contempt, but that's fine. We have Glorybringer, and they can't block with Hazoret because they have cards in hand, and we just basically outrace them. Not anything super interesting happened. We just drew a hand that curved out, and they only had one removal spell, so we just basically destroyed them pretty handily that game. So now this game, keep a reasonable hand again. It curves out. Let's see what this guy's Fulgence message is. I'm not sure what that's about. Oh, I remember. I don't know why it's not showing up in the chat, but they messaged me and was like, I see, because we had played like the day before in a practice tournament, practicing for this MOX, and we were both playing very crazy decks that we were experimenting with, and my opponent said something like, "It looks like you are playing a new crazy deck or something," and I was like, "Yeah, looks like neither of us could get away from the bruise," something like that, because we were battling with our own homebrews, Doomed Operative versus whatever you want to call this. Pretty sure that's what the conversation was about. So we're just playing our cards in order. They have the Fatal Push. Up, they can deal some damage. We're now on the back foot. Don't have any play. All our spells cost 4 and 5 mana. So this was actually an interesting game. So here we are. They have 4 creatures on board. We have none. It's kind of the reverse of last game. All our spells in hand cost 1,000,000 mana. So we have like 4-drop, 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 5-drop, 5-drop, 4 lands, only one of which is red. So this is the type of game that whenever your hand is loaded with spells that you can't deploy, like if we're going to lose because we got out-tempoed, not because we got out-carded based on our hand. So we want to make the plays that buy us the most time. That's the goal of this hand. The way to win this game is to prolong the game as long as possible. So we make the play of Ballista for 2, because this can block a creature and ping 2 creatures. They cycle their land because they're drawing lands, we're not. So we just want to absorb damage. We want to ping that with the ability on the stack. So then they Fatal Push, and we shoot to kill the other thing. So we actually killed 2 of their creatures and a Fatal Push with the Ballista. So we don't draw a red land that turn, but we drew a Cannonade. So we're able to Cannonade their last 2 threats. So it's the second time this card is really an all-star. Remember that Blue-White Monument matchup where we cleaned up their board and gave us a chance to win with our Glorybringer? Well, let's try to do the same thing again this time. So we took out their PNLR and their Dund Operative, and then we drew Ramanap Ruins. So now the opponent has Heart of Kiran, and that's a problematic card because if we just play Dragon and attack on their empty board, then presumably they have a removal spell. So they kill our Glorybringer on tap and they play a creature, crew the heart, attack us down to 4. Now we're kind of in trouble. So what I decided to do here is basically just, I want to kill that Heart of Kiran, and whatever creature they play, they're just going to crew it and attack. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to play a spell, and I'm going to make you do something. If you have removal spells in hand, I'm just going to, sit here, wait till you draw a creature, and then kill your Heart of Kiran, then I'm going to start playing creatures. So play Gonti, because now I finally hit, but by just sitting here, and we both just draw lands, and presumably they're also drawing removal spells. If they play a creature, I would expect them to play it and crew the heart. So then we're just sitting here drawing lands, and that's fine. That plays into the strength of our hand. A lot of people are just like, all right, I'm going to jam Glorybringer there, but then I think you're opening up yourself to losing the game, to them just playing a removal spell and a creature and attacking with heart. Now we're at 4. We're in burn range. We can't tap out for anything for the rest of the game because we're at risk of dying to like Glorybringer. If they draw Ramanap Ruins, we're just dead, to that kind of no matter what. Like we're at a 8 life is pretty precarious when your opponent is a red deck with Heart of Kiran on the board. So given that we have 2 removal spells that each deal with the Heart of Kiran effectively and gain us life to put us outside of that precarious life total, I felt like my best chance to win this game was to just sit here and wait and force the opponent to act, because if we're just both passing and drawing lands and playing them, that greatly favors us, not them. So I waited till I hit 8 lands so I could play Gonti, and I still have Vraska's Contempt mana up because I definitely want to contempt a Glorybringer, a Hazoret, or a Heart of Kiran. I want that to be the thing. I don't want to open myself up, leave myself vulnerable to them making a play like that without me having Contempt mana up. So even though we hit Hazoret here, whatever, I'm not going to cast it. I'm just going to keep Vraska's Contempt mana up. Now I draw another land, and now I can start casting spells because I'm still leaving Contempt up, but now I'm playing my creatures. Oh, guess what? I had the removal spell. Didn't see that one coming. Now we attack again, clock you, still have these Contempts, draw another vehicle, obviously doesn't do much, attack you down to 6, still have these 2 Contempts in hand. So now the play that I'm willing to make, given that they only have a few cards in hand, they drew their card, it would have been the Bowmite Courier was the 3rd card in hand. If let's say they had a pair of burn spells in hand, like a lightning strike is sitting in their hand, and they draw another lightning strike, and they're like, strike you. And they're like, okay, strike you again. Well, we can Vraska's Contempt our own, say, Gonti, just to gain 2 life. And that's fine because we're still pretty far ahead on board just with the Glorybringer and them being at 6 life, especially since we have this Hazoret on deck. We're like, the next turn, we're just going to jam Hazoret and attack, discard our card, and that's going to be the game. So again, this game was all about patience, where the opponent was way ahead on board with 4 creatures, and we just had 5 spells in our hand that were just stuck in our hand. And then we came back with the Ballista and the Fiery Cannonade, but even after that point, we just stayed patient because the way we're losing this game is by overcommitting and dying with Vraska's Contempt in hand. So we're just like, all right, we're just going to play the control game, play it slow, let the game drag on for several turns, which it did, and then we win with our drag on. That's right. I spent the whole game setting up that bad pun, and you guys got suckered into sitting through the whole thing. It's the long con. This was a good educational game, though. So they attack, just trying to get the card. So in this spot, we're just like, all right, whatever, go to 4 because we still have this Vraska's Contempt plan. We're just going to Ramunap Ruins you, and you just die. So this was kind of an interesting game. Yeah, there's good games. This game is all about patience and coming back. So the Ballista and the Cannonade were good draws for sure. But after that point, it was about being patient. I think given what they had, we probably would have won anyway. I don't know what their last card in hand was, but yeah, it's one of those games where kind of like against the blue-white or the Esper gifts deck, where if we just kill their freebooter and give them a chance to get back into the game, it's just being patient. So that's what a lot of Magic players don't do enough of, is just being patient. Just because you can cast a spell and that gives you an advantage doesn't mean it gives you the best advantage. Sometimes it leaves you vulnerable to the opponent coming back. Sometimes it's better to just let the game progress and slowly, incrementally um, give yourself more of an advantage until you win the game. And that's what we did with this deck. So these were some fun games. Unfortunately, I didn't get the points I needed, but there's one more chance for me to try to qualify for the World Championship. Right now I'm in 10th place, and the top 7 qualify, so probably going to have to top 8 the last tournament, but we'll see. I'll give it my best shot. This deck's pretty sweet.